Hi, welcome back to another episode of Teddy Talk. I want to introduce our guest today is Dr. Etu. He is from the business school, business college, and I want to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. Dr. Etu?
Hi, Teddy. It's nice to be here with you today. So as you stated, my name is Dr. Etu. I'm an assistant professor in the College of Business, and I'm hoping that in this session with Teddy Talks today, we'll be able to provide some tips and some knowledge to help not just myself or you, Teddy, but also the students who will be watching this video clip. So thank you for having me here, Teddy.
We're glad you're here, and we're excited to hear from you and learn more about some of the knowledge and tips that you can share with us. So maybe let's start with telling us a little bit about yourself. So why did you choose to become a professor?
Good question to start with Teddy. So I know there's different reasons out there for different people who are professors, but I think mine is just based off my experiences and the exposure I've gotten. So first off, I'm from Nigeria, right? So and I did a little bit of my college, or should I say, I did 95% of my college in Nigeria, and then I was able to go to Europe. That's the United Kingdom, to be specific, and I did like 2.5% there for my college, and then also then I came to the US back in 2015 and did the remaining 2.5% there of my college. So all these different experiences kind of shape me in different ways and help me end up where I am today, right? And then most importantly, parents, friends, families, other professors that I met, other researchers and colleagues as well also had a role to play in shaping me to become a professor today. And I think it's already out there, right? There's very little number of professors that look like me. So how can I use those experiences and exposure to help the next generation of students, right? So one thing that basically inspired me was a quote from another American teacher, Krista McAuliffe, and she was not only an American teacher but was an astronaut. So at least one of the American teachers to try to go to space, right? She didn't make it on a rocket, but there were some incidents midway through there. But then her quote was, "I touch the future, I teach." And that's as simple as it is for me, right? As a professor, that's what we do, right? You don't know the future of the students, right? But if you can teach them now, or you can inspire them now, or you can motivate them now, we know that in some years to come, they're going to be great individuals, right? So we're basically touching their future now, right? Without even knowing it. And some great examples out there. My Tesla guy, Elon Musk, right? If I go back and I look at, or I ask his teachers, like, did you guys ever know this guy would be the billionaire of the entire world? None of them would say yes, right? But they basically touch his future with whatever course he took from them. So basically, the main thing there is to just help guide students as they quest for knowledge through different levels, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and all those different things, right? They have a quest for knowledge in each of those levels. And then my second is to be able to influence their decisions, right, and behaviors, right, in order to give them a robust option, right, to make that decision that would help them either as an individual or as a team, and then as they go into their different careers, right? Most of them would not have access to professors or individuals who can give them good decisions that would help them in their lives. So my role is to kind of fill in that gap. So I always tell my students, reach out to me regardless of whatever questions you have. If it's questions from things we did in class, oh, fine, perfect. If it's questions about your life, absolutely perfect. If it's questions about a potential job or job interview and stuff like that, please reach out to me. And I've had a lot of them reach out to me. In fact, for an example, before this meeting, I've had one of my students who took my class last spring 22. She is studying to be a data scientist, and throughout this summer, I've basically been helping to guide her with different resources and stuff like that. So she's always reaching out to me. She's always sending me emails and stuff like that. So that's basically why I chose to become a professor. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Teaching. I think that's the heart of, what you're saying, and being able to influence our future. With that being said, maybe let's talk about your other role that you have on campus, which is a fur. So why did you choose to be a fur?
I think it's a great role, first of all, the faculty in residence. And then I've been opportunity to meet other people who have been in this role before, and they were part of like the inspiration and the motivating factor for me. But I think first of all, it allows me to engage with students and contribute to their success, right? So if I haven't experienced it before, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to join FAIR, right? I've stayed in all through my time in college, master's, and the PhD. I've stayed in the dorms, right? And I've had other faculty and other professors be my mentor to help guide me, right? I have this personal quote that says, all I want to do is just stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And when I say stand on the shoulders of giants, I don't mean standing on the shoulder of someone who is the same age mate as me or who's younger than me, right? I have very little to learn from them, but rather I stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before me, right? The elderly ones, the most senior ones, and all those different things. Because what I can see standing on a skyscraper, they can see it sitting on the floor. So I need that wisdom and knowledge from them. So I think I've gotten all of that a little bit. So I want to pass that on and contribute to the success of our SJSU students here. So, and then I think I've mentioned this already. I've been a product of good mentoring, right? So, and I've been super blessed by which I'm thankful to God for. So can I be that good mentor to the students here on the campus residence? So, and that's basically my goal and objective and the motivating factor for me to be in the FAIR program. And basically just pay all what I've learned forward, like just pay all of it forward to other students. Then I do expect them to take that mantle and pay it to the next set of students they made. So yeah.
Thank you. Maybe let's continue down that same thread as you're talking about building success, and helping our students succeed here at San Jose State. So what kind of tips or advice can you give for students to be successful here?
I think first of all, I would say it depends on what the student defines their success as, right? Is it success in the classroom? Is it success in maybe extracurricular activities? Or is it success in their individual lives, right? Each of them probably have different meanings in how they see it, right? So I think I'll take the first one, which is the academics, right? Because the student, the word student is derived from the word study. So you're a student, you're basically someone who studies, right? So, and your primary purpose here in the university is to study, nothing else. Every other thing is secondary. So to get that academic success, right, you must be ready to study, right? That's my first thing. You must be ready to study. Then secondly, you must be ready to work in a team, right? Collaborate with your peers, collaborate with other professors and things like that, right? And maybe even collaborate with resources, right, that would help you achieve that academic success. Maybe professional development resources, right, that would help you achieve success as a student. And then the third one I would probably say is the professors have tips and ways to help you become successful academically. But if you don't reach out to them, yes, I know some students have been successful with or without the professor, right, academically, right? But then when it comes to situations where you need to get a recommendation letter, right, because you did not reach out to that professor or you were not contributing in class or and everything like that, it basically hinders you from getting a recommendation letter that would actually speak to your skill sets and the knowledge you've gotten and all those different things. So I wouldn't really say working with the professor, but at least doing your best to connect with the professor. Either it's during class, right? Maybe by answering questions, at least making the professor know your name, know who you are, and things like that. Or if it's outside the classroom, maybe connecting via LinkedIn or at least sending an email, right, to the professor, right? Just any way you can reach out to that professor. And maybe probably when you're doing a homework or an assignment and you have a doubt or something, just get on your email and send it to the professor. That way, this professor know, okay, this student is at least doing their best to study the materials. I can provide them tips to help them become successful academically, right? And then the other second part would be the extracurricular activities, right? It's still related to your academics in a way, right? But the extracurricular activities gives you a different set of skills, right? It gives you things like leadership skills, right? Public speaking skills, right? Because if you join maybe student orgs or some leadership programs on campus and things like that, you get exposure to a wide variety of things, right? Which would help you and even make you successful in your academics, right? Because, for example, if you join a student org and let's say you're the secretary or even the vice president or the president, right? When you're interviewing for a job, they would ask you, have you ever held a leadership role before? And boom, like, yes. I was the president for the Association of Business Students or something, right? And then you tell them different things you did while in that leadership position, right? So I think those are some tips or advice I would give to students in order for them to be successful here on campus at SJSU. Those tips, I have used them, right, while I was an undergrad, a master's, and a PhD student, and I'm still using them right now that I'm a faculty. So they work. That's what I would say.
And timeless advice, I think that's what we're trying to look for too, because I think it's applicable from what I'm hearing, what you're sharing with us. It's not just applicable now as a student, but it's also applicable in the workplace, in the interview, and as you're trying to stand upon the shoulders of giants. Good tips that we can always share. Let's switch gears then from success to how do we overcome failures in our career, whether it's a student, us as a student in our academic careers or in life. How do we build that resiliency?
Another good question there, Teddy. And you're going to make me grow old.
We want to get to know you and get your good knowledge.
Absolutely, Teddy. I think we all know it. Failure is inevitable, right? I think failure is basically the starting point for success. Depending on how you approach that failure, I'll put that there, right? I have failed before so many times, right? Did I let that failure weigh me down and just be like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to school anymore. I just drop out and just stuff like that, right? That's when you've literally admitted defeat to that failure, right? But do you learn from that failure, right, and use it to make an impact on your life and progress, right? We all know that guy they call Albert Einstein, the guy that did the light bulb or whatever he did or whatsoever, right?
Yes.
Thomas Edison, my bad. How many times did he fail? Thomas Edison failed a lot of times, right? He failed a lot of times, but was he able to learn from each of those failures? Yes, because at the end of the day, when he eventually made the light bulb work, he was like, I have learned that all these other ways do not work and will not help you make a light bulb, right? So he basically learned from his failure in order to perfect his invention, right? So I think, as you mentioned, that word resilience is basically what comes after failure, right? And before I probably go into explaining it, I would say we need to take a step back and understand what the word resilience means, right? Which is being able to withstand or quickly recover from an event, right? COVID-19 rocked our world. It rocked it so bad, right? And both ended up on Zoom today. So, but then we can see all across the globe how we humans, communities, states, counties, countries have been resilient and are able to gradually recover from the pandemic, right? So we could use all of that example and apply it into our own lives. How do we recover when we fail, right? So for me, in my experiences, I've basically had an open mindset, right? And just embrace every learning opportunity I get. So once I fail, I look for a learning opportunity. How can I learn from this failure, right? And I talk to those people that have encountered that same thing and what did they do differently that helped them to come out successful, right? But if you just fail and you just zip your mouth and keep it to yourself, there's no learning opportunity, right? There's no avenue for you to learn, because you haven't shared, or you haven't gone to look for those people that faced a similar situation like you, or try to do uh, uh, things in a better way. So be ready to get up and continue pushing whenever you fail. That's basically one thing that is attached to building that resiliency, right? And then there are multiple examples out there. I think one popular example I would call on is Hans Wilsdorf, who was the founder of Rolex, one of the exciting brands out there, super famous brands, and every single person wants a Rolex watch. So at least I do want a Rolex watch if I can afford it, right? But he faced a lot of failures as well, right? Personal failures, family failures, business failures, and all those different things, right? Especially growing up in Europe at his age, with a lot of discrimination and racism and all those different things going on back there, right? He faced all of that, but he had that learning mindset, right? And he learned from all those failures and used them to propel himself, right? To basically becoming a household name everywhere, right? Not just in Europe, but in America and in other countries, right? Every single person wants a Rolex, right? Once they make a very, very, very good income, they want a Rolex because it depicts durability, reliability, resilience, and all those different things. And then he basically went on to build a super exciting watch empire for himself, right? When people told him, you cannot make a wristwatch, right? You cannot change the fact that back then everyone was using a pocket watch, right? And he was like, I have to change this. We need to put the watch on our wrist, right? And they were like, man, just go away, you're a failure, and all those different things, right? But he basically used all of that, right, to propel himself into making the wristwatch. And right now, the pocket watch are obsolete. Nobody uses a pocket watch anymore. If you're walking on the road and you bring out a pocket watch, they're like, man, where did this guy come from? So, yep. So, yeah, that's my, as my brother would say, my 2 cents about failure and resilience. So, yeah.
Thank you for that insight, especially, I think the common thread throughout our conversation today is the idea of that learner's mindset. Always seek out advice, mentorship, and guidance. So how do students, or how do we get a hold of you if we want to continue that conversation about learning more from you, or having that conversation about growth? How do we get a hold of you?
If they see me on the road, just stop me and ask me questions. But in a more formal way, I think the email or Discord, it's the best places to get a hold of me. So, and I think you can testify on my email response speed. So
yes. And we will make sure we note your email address as well as your Discord account on our link down below, to make sure that you are able to get a hold of Dr. Etu to get those information.
Yep. So that's the 2 best places to get a hold of me. And yeah, my response time is top notch. And the reason for that is because my phone is always beside me. So once it comes in, I would want to reply immediately. I'm that person that hates to see all those red notifications hanging around my phone. So I literally have everything read and taken care of. So yeah.
Perfect. That being said, Thank you so much. I know we will make sure we find some other opportunities, bring you and talk to more about your experience and other insights that you can share with us. But I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, Dr. Etu, for spending the time with us, and we will hear from you soon.
Thank you, Teddy. Yeah, you're welcome.